Hello, everyone. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we're going to have Paul. Paul is from Seattle, but he's moving to New York City in the USA. So let's see what Paul has to say. Enjoy the interview. Now I
Perfect.
can.
Hello.
Amazing. Hello, Paul. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Very well. Thanks so much for taking the time today for the interview. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Nice to meet you.
Nice to
Yeah,
meet you too. So tell me, how's your day going so far?
pretty good. So I'm living in New York right now for a month. And thinking about moving here next year. So just working from home today and then going into the office tomorrow. And yeah, it's been great so far. I just had a good weekend and yeah.
Amazing. So, you're gonna stay in New York City for a month, and after you're gonna move there for good.
Yeah. I'm waiting for like one more like finalization on my work transfer. And then I would move here in April next year. So I decided to
Mhm.
do a preview. I got here on the 2nd. I leave on the 26th. So far it's been amazing and everything I'm looking for right now. So excited to move next year in April. Yeah.
That's great. And where are you
Yeah.
from?
Seattle.
And born and
Yeah.
raised.
So I was born and raised in Olympia, which is just a little bit south of Seattle, and then went to college in Bellingham, and then moved down to Seattle right out of college, and have been in
Mhm.
Seattle for like the last 11 years. So I love Seattle. It's a great city. Have a great group of friends there. My family's there, so a little sad to leave that, but I think it just became a little too routine for me, and I like getting out of my comfort zone, doing different things, and
Wow.
um, yeah, I just felt a little like idle, I guess. Like nothing was wrong or not great, but just kind of idle. And so I felt like if I was feeling that for a few years, I was just
Uh-huh.
going to keep feeling that unless I kind of did something about it. So, yeah.
Amazing. So the reason of New York City is because of work.
No, I don't even know. I think I've always had like a fascination with New York City.
Uh-huh.
And have always like joked with friends that I would visit once and fall in love with it and move there. I love big cities. I love people and energy, and the busier and crazier it is, the more I thrive in it. And so I was always trying to look for bigger cities. And then with work, I got to travel a lot these last few years. So I did a 3 month rotation to our office in India, and then a 1 month rotation just recently this summer. So, with all that world travel and traveling as much as I could on the weekends to as many different countries as I could while I was there, I just kind of came back with a sense that Seattle was really small. And I didn't know what I didn't know. And then I kind of was looking for something a lot bigger than what Seattle had at the time. And yeah. And so then, oh, like finally felt like the joke was becoming a reality and I kind of got nervous to visit. And then finally just was like, you know what, I'm going to rip the band-aid. I'm going to go for it. I have a lot of friends in the area. It's easy to
Mhm.
transfer with work. I have family in the area. So it all just kind of started lining up the way that I wanted it to. And I think there's a right time for everything. I think like had I had this idea 5 years ago, then it wouldn't have been the right timing. And I think timing is everything. And so, yeah.
Amazing, my God. And before you spent this month there, just few days in New
Mhm.
York City, I believe you've been there before or not?
I had never been.
Oh my
So,
God.
it's kinda crazy to, like, have this idea of a place and, like, kind of fall in love with it before you're even there, but I just from everything that everyone said about it and, like, the just everything I read, it was checking all the boxes, and so I was like, "Okay, well, I need to know for myself," and then, it's like there's been a lot of small moments that really have been really clarifying for me that it's the right move and that, like, it's not the big moment where it's like you're doing the tour of the Empire State Building, which is great, but it's like the small moments. And I remember that my friend who's a drag queen was doing drag bingo, uptown on Monday. So messaged her, ended up going to that, bringing another friend, or just like taking the subway, or like walking to the bodega, or like, ended up talking to someone at a coffee shop, like just like small things. I was like, oh wow, this really does kind of check all the boxes, and there's such an energy in this city that I really want to be a part of it. And I did fall in love with it, and now it's time to move. So yeah,
Amazing. That's great. I'm so glad that we connected during this time of your life, that you are,
yeah,
really starting a new journey, and you somehow now you are, I know, kind of exploring a little bit before you kind of, just give the big step. And I think that's
yeah,
what life is about. Life is about for you to trying and, and just see, new places. And this life is an adventure. And you learn a lot
exactly,
as well.
exactly.
You always learn a lot. Like, not easy. I'm sure it's not going to be always like the best, always,
Yeah,
flowers and skies. But for
mhm,
sure, you know what I mean? When you kind of get yourself in the right path, you're going to go like, yes, I meant to be here.
yeah,
How it
yeah.
works.
When things line up, you can tell. Yeah.
So tell me, what do you do for work, for a living, Paul?
Yeah, I work for an accounting firm. So I do audits of employee benefit plans. So we look at companies that have more than 100 people in their benefit plans, and we make sure that those are operating effectively and how they should be working. So it's a lot of number crunching and compliance, but like what I like at the end of the day is that it does keep an eye out for people. Like you have your paycheck and you worked hard for that, and you expected the company to take your $100 and put it in your retirement fund, and like do you really check every single paycheck that that's happening? I don't, and I even do the work, right? Like, so there are times when we find errors that lead to people getting their accounts fixed, and so there are like real life examples of things happening where we can correct someone's error from the company and make sure that the participant is made whole.
Amazing. Okay,
Yeah,
so during the interview, I'm going to explore a little bit more about your life and also about your journey so far, okay?
sure. Yeah.
Paul, before we start our journey within the Magic Box, I would like you to tell me something interesting about yourself, or maybe something that not many people know about you.
Gosh, something interesting. Um, I really love theme parks. I'm a really big theme park fan, and that's kind of what brought me to New York too. Is I have some really great friends who I met through Instagram. We just go to theme parks together, and they
Hmm.
live in Jersey City, and I've gone on a bunch of trips with them. So knew that if I moved here, I'd be part of that group of friends, and so really love theme parks. So if ever I'm traveling somewhere, I'm always mapping just to see like if there's a theme park like an hour away, and we can get there and go on a roller coaster or two. So yeah.
Look, if one day you come to London, yeah, to London in England,
Yeah.
there is this season now. I think it's starting next month until February, if I'm not wrong. We called Winter Wonderland, where
Yeah, yeah, I've seen, clips of that. Yeah, it looks awesome.
yes. So it's very cold, but you find so many places where you can have some mulled wine. You can have there's some fairs as well. There's a lot of things happening, and a lot of people they go there during this time because it's very famous and very popular as well. So people we got together. Sometimes if even forget that it's really cold because the atmosphere around people, the energy is just around. It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah, you're just having such a good time. Yeah, that's
So
cool.
yeah, just put in your list to do list there one day when
Yes.
it's doing good.
Yes, definitely.
Paul, are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and share your point of views?
Sure.
Amazing. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So I have my best friend. Full of random fun questions, okay? I'm just gonna play a song just for us to relax before the first question. All right?
Okay.
Let's do it. Right. So before we start the game, during the join, if it comes up a question that you don't want to talk about, you don't want to answer, always can change, okay?
Okay.
Right. Next question. First question is, who do you count the most for help?
Um, Probably my best friends, Lucy and Emily, and my parents. My best friends, Lucy and Emily, we've been really close ever since, 7th grade, or even earlier. I went to preschool with Emily. I feel like when I have an issue or something I need to work through, I'm someone that has to process it right away. So I like to call them out of the blue and just be like, hey, this happened. And, they're always there for a listening ear. And then my parents are really amazing too. We have a really close family unit. And so I feel like I can always call them if anything's going on as well. So that's who I go to.
And your those two friends just mentioned now, they live as well in Seattle.
They do, yeah. So I would be leaving that, but I know that they'd come visit. And everyone I've talked to about moving to New York has been like, you know what? I get it. Like for you, like it's so you. It's such your personality that no one like, and I think that's even a sign too. No one's been like, "Are you sure about that?" Like that seems like a really horrible idea. Everyone's been like, "Oh, you'd love it. You'd have such a good time there. You'd really thrive there." And I feel like that's even like an indicator in itself. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, so both of them, they're watching this interview right now, and you have a moment, an opportunity to send them a message. What would you say? For,
Oh
both.
gosh, I would say, like thank you for always being a best friend, always being there with those phone calls. And we've experienced a lot together throughout life, and it's just that ride or die that's always going to be there for you. And we really supported each other through a lot of different changes in life. And I think that's really special too, that we're so many different versions of ourselves as we grow up. And I'm not anywhere near who I was at 7th grade, and neither are they. But like you grow and change together, and you always have that connection. So I'm just excited for more adventures with them, and appreciate all the phone calls and the hangouts and the laughter and the connection.
Amazing. Very cool. Next question. Let's do it. Okay, Paul, next question for you is, how would your best friend describe yourself?
I think they would say energetic, adventurous, um, high energy, talkative,
Mhm.
um, and a go-getter, like someone that just doesn't let things linger. Like if I want to go do something, I'll go do it, and spontaneous. Yeah.
And when you think about yourself, Paul, when you analyze yourself, what's the biggest joy of being you? What do you like the most about being Paul?
Um, I think I'm tenacious, and I think I'm very independent.
Hmm.
That means a lot to me. Being born with a disability, I worked really hard to be where I am, and
Hmm.
um, make a life for myself, of course, with the support of family and friends and surgeries and all those things. But I think you can have all those things handed to you, but if you don't have the personal drive along with that, then all three of those things have to work for it to go somewhere. So I think of that. I think of again my spontaneous energy, and just I love people. I love making friends. I love new experiences, and I'm never one to shy away from something difficult or something new. Especially in these last few years, I think I've leaned into a lot of experiences. Like I leaned into going to India with work because I saw a really great opportunity to grow professionally and personally there. I leaned into travel. I leaned into seeing if New York was right for me because I had an idea about it. So yeah, and I think I care a lot about people. I feel like I'm someone that shows up. Like I send the text back, I get the phone call back, I show up when people need me, and then I'm really proud of that.
Wow, amazing. Tell me something, about New York City. Tell me, you've been there for a few days, few weeks already, few
Few
days.
weeks, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So tell me, when was the moment that you said, "Oh my God, I'm in New York City right now"? There was a moment that you saw something or something happened to you for those days. That's okay. I am in New York City for sure. I can tell that.
Um, you know, when we went to Stonewall Inn, that was crazy because I grew up with the history of Stonewall Inn, right? And learning that that was kind of the birthplace of the movement for LGBTQ rights. And so, like, never been there before. And it was ironic to me that it was the first place that we went, And so, like, that moment, and just like the hustle and bustle of the subway, and just like, looking up and then continuing to look up and seeing like just the skyscrapers here are just massive. And like even like coming in, like the skyline just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and all of a sudden I was like right in the middle of it. Um so there's things like that, or like walking through Central Park, just seeing people go about their day and then realizing that I'm also going about their day, and everyone has a story here. And I don't know, it's just like a really exciting city, and there's just like so much energy. So I think it's been like small things like that where it's like walking to the bodega. Like I've never been to a bodega, and I was like really excited to go to a bodega, and then just like little things like that where I was like, yeah, I could totally live here. And then thinking about my car and how I've always had a car, like I was like, well, what am I going to do with my car? And I then thought about it longer and was like, I don't really actually drive it that much to begin with. So like I don't actually need one. And so just kind of realizing that I had one way of living and way of thinking, and that like that can morph and change as I've experienced different cultures and different places. Like that was just one way of living that I learned, and that I'm willing to adapt it and change it. And that I think that's good. That gets you out of your, out of your own way.
Amazing. Next question. Let's do it. For the next question, tell me, as you mentioned about already that you are part of the LGBTQ plus community, yeah? So tell me
Yeah.
how, about your experience. How was for you growing up as a queer gay boy? Did you have the support of your family, friends? How did it work out for you?
Yeah. I think I had a lot of guilt for a long time. I grew up in the church, and so I think it took me a bit to unlearn some of that. So I felt pretty isolated and alone in that feeling during middle school, a lot during middle school, really, really struggled with it. In high school, I was really involved in the church, and I was also really involved in this theater group. And
Hmm.
the theater group had openly gay people, everyone just being themselves and just really authentic. And then in church, I didn't really feel that, but it was so interesting because there was only one friend that overlapped between those groups. And he was great, and he knew probably something was going on, but he would have never ever said anything ever. And so I kind of felt like without that theater group, I wouldn't have figured out who I was as quick enough. And then started to kind of figure that out. And, I had really supportive parents, but I didn't realize it until I finally kind of broke the ice and, said something. And when I did come out to them, they said, we love you no matter what. And there's nothing that changes. And then I think when you come out and when you accept it are two completely different points, because did I come out at 19? Yes. Did I feel actually comfortable with myself and in the community and know who I was? Probably not until like 25 or 26. Because then immediately after that, I was like, I'm hanging out with all my girls. Like, I'm not gonna hang out with any gay people. It's the same story that everyone kind of shares. Like, so I immediately came out and then knew absolutely no LGBTQ people. Hung out with my girls in college. Had a few gay friends. And then it wasn't really till I moved to Capitol Hill in Seattle, which is the neighborhood there, that I like found my own footing and found a really great group of people and people who were LGBTQ as well, and then kind of found my whole identity through that, like really rounded it out in that time. And it was just a great experience because it was, again, the right time at the right place. And, since then, parents have always been great and family has always been great. I think sometimes you get really far in your head when you just don't have any examples of what you are feeling or anyone to talk to. And so you think it's like the worst possible thing that could ever happen in your life, and that like there's no way. And it's just kind of like eventually that bubbles up and you say something. Like the first two people I came out to were Lucy and Emily, the best friends I mentioned earlier. And they were, already kind of new, but completely supportive. And again, never told a word to anyone until I was ready to tell my own story. And so, um,
Wow,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
great. Before you told your parents, do you think they knew it?
yeah, probably. Yeah. I
I
wasn't
see.
like I was a flamboyant kid. Like I was in theater. I think you can read some signs there, and we have some other LGBTQ members in our greater family, and so I think that like yeah, I think there were some things adding up there that probably I thought I was being very like masculine and like sitting without my legs crossed and things, but I think it was just a matter of I'm sure them being like, I don't want to accuse Paul of something if that's not where he's at. And then also like meeting them where he's at. So just that unconditional love that my family has always been giving to us. And so just waiting like for me to catch up with it and finally say something. So yeah.
Absolutely. I think it's about respect. I think somehow our parents, at the end of the day, I think they know us very well, and sometimes they know us even better than ourselves. Sometimes,
Mhm.
yeah. And I think, sometimes you just want to respect your space. Respect who you
Yeah.
are, and when you're ready to talk about why not, let's wait for for him to be ready for that. So I understand your point for sure.
Mhm.
Next question is, when was the last time that you cried and why?
Oh my gosh. I think I cried. Now I'm gonna cry.
Oh,
Going to Bangalore was just like such a life-changing experience for me and so important. Like professionally, yes, but personally, like I just needed to get out and experience the world and take a big risk and just not do the same thing every day that I loved doing, but I just had to like kind of go for it. So when I went the first time, it was incredible and overwhelming. And like I felt like every emotion I ever had was just like at 100. It was just so much going on. But like in the best way possible. And so then the second time I went, I was fortunate enough to go again, and it felt like the first time I left, it didn't feel complete. This time it did. I think for some reason I would go again with work or with the friends I've made there. But I cried because I was like, oh wow, like this chapter is kind of like coming to an end, and like I'm so thankful for it, and like I'm gonna miss my friends here. I'm gonna miss the work that I did here and the connections and like the people I met. And so it was just kind of like bittersweet because I was excited to sleep in my own bed and have some food that agreed with my stomach, but sad because I didn't really have another trip in planned quite yet, so that it was kind of closing out a really big chapter. And I think without that trip, I would have never ever thought that I could move to New York. I would have never thought it was something I could like that would be possible for me. I just kind of like didn't allow myself to dream bigger than I could have. And so I think it really opened up my mind that I could really do whatever I wanted to and live anywhere and really just expand my own understanding of what I could do.
wow. I started to get goosebumps now with your words. What
Yeah.
was special about this whole experience that made you cry or made got you emotional? It was about the place, about the people. I'm sure all together, but what's
Yeah.
something
Yeah. I
about it that somehow touched you somehow?
I think I was just feeling really stuck in my life in general. Like, COVID was hard for everyone. I switched jobs and that was hard for me. I was in an apartment that I didn't really like for 8 years and was getting ready to move, but then COVID hit. And so it's like, well, why move now? And so then I was in it much longer. So I just felt really stuck in a lot of different parts of my life. And then this opportunity came around and it kind of seemed like, a way to solve all those things, and it really did. It got me out of my comfort zone, it got me out of the apartment I was looking at, I put my stuff in storage and moved, and I think I was just, like, craving so much more of an experience, and so, like, I think that it could have been Germany, it could have been anywhere, it just happened to be India, which is a beautiful, beautiful country and beautiful people. I think whatever it was more about just, like, saying yes to a big adventure and saying yes to something that I had no idea what it was gonna look like, and just, like, leaning into my own confidence and just saying, like, "I have no idea what's gonna happen with this, but I'm gonna make the best of it, and I know that it's gonna change me, and, I'm gonna, like, lean into this because this is what I need at this point in time, in my life." So I think, like, the way that it just came around at the right time, and the people are just incredible. A lot of my close friends are over there. And the community there and the food and the culture and the temples and just such a completely different experience than anything I have ever experienced. I'd never even been to Asia before. I had gone to Europe. Talk about just like completely different world, yet exactly the same. It just really opened my mind in a way that I was really looking for that I wasn't going to find if I just stayed put, right? It's something that you have to get out of the country that you were born in to experience.
Beautiful. Wow. Yeah, I think those experiences in life just bring us, this what you just mentioned everything now. Actually I was looking your pictures on Instagram, and I could see your pictures on in Japan, like day one, day two, day and
Yeah, yeah.
and I'll tell you something, Paul. I think Japan, it's a country that it's on top of my bucket list. I think I'm gonna come back a different person when I visit for the first time. The same, everything what you said about India, I think I'm gonna feel the same when I go to Japan. I always be
Yeah.
fascinated about the culture. I always be fascinated about the people. You know, I
Hmm.
think it's something about Japan that somehow their culture, they're ahead of us. There's something about their way of
Yeah,
approaching life or living, you know, even
100%.
the way they talk is like that. There's the sound of their voice, everything's about. So I understand your
Yeah.
point. Those places just leave a mark in our lives in a positive
Yeah,
way.
that was a great trip. I would have never even thought of like doing a international solo trip on my own, but then it
It's
just
amazing.
felt like so easy, like
Yeah.
again to the point of like growing so much bigger than I thought of things I could do. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm just gonna do a layover there for 6 days because why not?" And then like
Yeah.
if you told me that like 5 years ago, that like wouldn't be where I was, in my
Absolutely.
like in my confidence, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Amazing. Next question. Ready?
sure.
Let's do it. Next one. Next question is, what's the best advice have you ever received?
Um, Probably from my parents. I think that, having a disability, not having a lot of representation around me ever or still to this day, they always told me that I can be in whatever room I want to be in and I don't need to see someone else there to be there. And I've always like held that, that I come into whatever space that I think I should be in. And oftentimes I am the only disabled person in the room. And in the greater area or in general. And it's just, I never really think about it because I grew up knowing that I could do whatever I wanted to and I could be in whatever space I wanted to. And so I think remembering that too, that we look a lot for representation, which I think is so important. And of course, like, I would have wished that there would have been other people in the room who looked like me along the way. But sometimes you just have to be like, you know what? It's me in the room. And so it's going to be me and not get too caught up with like, someone needs to go do this before me so that I can do it. Sometimes you just have to be like, well, it's me and here I go. So I think it's just something that I've always held really closely that I can be in whatever space I want to be in.
And why do you think some people with disability they don't feel like or they don't do it like the way you see it? Why is that? Why do you think?
I mean, it's a lot of pressure. Like I feel that too. I feel like I represent a lot of things when I act or how I go about my day or people's perceptions of me. I think I hold probably too closely. But I think that I'm like representing a community and so I think there's a lot of pressure that way. But I wonder if they had great parents like mine who taught them that, And so like I just always knew at a young age that I was going to be wherever I wanted to be because I deserved to be there.
Oh,
And so I know it was something I never questioned. And so yeah, I think a combination of that.
I see. Okay. 3 questions left. Let's do it.
Okay.
Next question for you is, what would be your theme song if you had your own show?
Can you say that again?
What would be your theme song if you had your own show?
Oh gosh. Something really like poppy and exciting and then has like a twist and turn to it and like a reveal along the way or something. And yeah, something kind of like quippy and sassy and like quick-witted and yeah, something like that.
Who's your Who's your favorite artist at all time?
Gosh, I love Lady Gaga, as every
Uh-huh.
gay boy does. And I really like Leon. She's more of like a singer-songwriter, but I just love her music. And recently it's been a lot of Camila Cabello,
Okay.
um, and a lot of Charlie XCX. So
Okay. So let's
yeah,
say one day you wake up with 3 missed calls on your phone. One from Lady Gaga, another one from the Leon, and the third
yeah,
call was from the third person you mentioned.
Charlie XCX. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Which one you called back straight away? Which one you send a message saying, okay, I'll call you later? And the third one you don't call, you don't send a message, you just go like, okay, I can call her later.
I would start a group chat so that everyone could call
Ah,
me at the
so
same
clever.
time, so then we could all have a collective conversation about whatever I was
No, no,
thinking.
you can You cannot do that. You cannot have a WhatsApp group.
I would call Lady Gaga back. I would text Leon that I would get back to her. And I'm sure that Charlie XCX and I would just run into each other at a club later that day. So she wouldn't be upset that I didn't call or text her back because we would just pick up where we left off the next time we saw each other.
You're very clever. Yeah, I love it. Top 3 favorite songs of Lady Gaga.
Edge of Glory.
Mm-hmm.
Born This Way.
Yeah.
And then, gosh, she has an unreleased song called Future Love that she did on the piano, like really from like the Fame days. And I've never seen it like streaming on anything. And I always just go to YouTube to listen to it. But it's just like so good. And it's talking about how like whoever she's gonna fall in love with, she's gonna fall in love with them so amazingly and so hard. And she's really gonna like give it her all. And so she's like singing this like love song about a future love. And that it's like everything she wants and more, but it's always in the future. And I just like kind of like that idea.
Amazing. 2 questions left. Let's do it. Before the next question, Paul, tell me what's the meaning of life for you?
For me, it's experiences for sure. Like eventually want to find a life partner, but I'm not really in a rush and I don't really want kids. I think that um I really value my independence too. I don't think it was always guaranteed for me. So it's something that I always lean into new experiences and things. I'm someone that says yes. I'm someone that tries the new thing or the new food or the new person. And like, so for me, it's just living at your fullest and getting everything you want out of it. And making sure that you set yourself up to do that. Like, I think when people are like, "Oh, I wish I would have done that," or "Oh, well, like, why didn't you?" Like, even if I moved to New York and a year in, I think that it isn't for me, it's not the fit, then I'll just move back. But like, that would have been a great learning experience. So I don't like, I'm calculated on when I do things, but I don't wait too long to miss an opportunity. I make sure it works for me and I make sure it's right, but then I go for it and I don't sit on those feelings for too long. So for me, it's just about experiences and the people, my family, my friends, and just, enriching your life with experiences. And, I'm not one to like save a lot of money, even though I'm in accounting. You think I would like have all these investment portfolios and do all this savings and stuff. And like, yeah, I have a 401k. I'll be fine in retirement, but I think money should be spent and money should be enjoyed responsibly. And so I'm the one that, is like, yeah, I could do that trip. Yeah, I could do, like figuring out how to just like experience more instead of just kind of like, sitting on all this money that I like then get in retirement because I didn't spend it when there was a really great opportunity in front of me.
Amazing. Love it. Next question is, what do you like the most about your best friends?
Gosh, I think that we show up in different ways when it's needed. When it's a serious conversation, it's a serious conversation, and like you can just tell by the tone of the phone call or of the interaction on what needs to be done. Or if it's completely being ridiculous and silly and goofing off for the whole day and going out to the bars and just having a drunken time, like whatever it is, like we always find each other where we need to be. And I think like that's what's great is the friend that can go and have a crazy night with you and the friend that can have the serious conversations with you are what makes great best friends.
Amazing. Last question, ready?
Sure.
Let's do it. Last question. Before the last question, Paul, people watch this interview, they might have a disability that they think that they feel a bit afraid to go out there and be themselves, or some things hold them back, or they don't have this confidence that you have, or something that make them somehow in their own space. What would be your best piece of advice for those people?
I mean, like really sitting in those feelings and like unpacking them a little bit. Like, why do you feel that way? And kind of learning to like acknowledge it and move on.
Mhm.
And realizing that like it's really you, like no one's gonna force you to do anything, right? Like, you have the power to do whatever you want to do. And I think just if not now, then when, right? Like figuring out why you're feeling that way. And also being okay to say no. Like I am someone that goes for opportunities, but I also know when an opportunity is not for me. So I think like knowing how to push yourself but not past your comfort is really important too. Like, there are definitely times where I'm like, yeah, that's too much for me. So it's, I'm gonna pull back or like I have my boundary. Or sometimes I see something, I'm like, yeah, like probably wouldn't do that again. Like that, but like I think just remembering to be in tune with yourself and like listen to the thoughts in your head because that's you telling what you need to hear. But then if you're really kind of in your head and getting lost in it, like learning how to stop that pattern and take a beat and say, hold on a second, I think I'm really spiraling. I've been replaying the same doom scenario in my head about going and doing something for 20 minutes and like really like is that the worst thing that's going to happen or is something really going to be amazing if I just go, right? Like going to a show by yourself or going and talking to someone, right? Like, or moving it across the country, right? Like, if you really kind of play out the worst case scenario, then you realize it's probably not that bad and it's probably not likely going to happen. So, something too is I feel like I acknowledge when a good day isn't a good day. And I just kind of say, you know what, tomorrow's different. And like, I kind of chalk it up that the rest of the day is going to be horrible and that's just how it's going to be. But then tomorrow I'm going to change my tune. I'm going to wake up in a different mindset. So I think that's something that I would encourage them to is like just because you're having one bad day doesn't mean that they're all bad days, and just kind of allowing your feelings to feel that full day, and start fresh in the morning.
I love that, Paul, and I believe, and I think this advice, it's for everyone. You know what I mean? Because all of us, we have those things that hold us back for different reasons, and sometimes you just need to somehow put yourself, as you said, just put yourself in the situation, and how you're gonna feel about it. And sometimes you're gonna be surprised. Sometimes, oh, actually, it's not that bad that I thought
Yeah,
it. You know what I mean? So it
right.
applies for everything for sure. Okay, last question is, what gives you butterflies?
Super flies. Um, I think when gosh, roller coasters, of course, but in the best way. I think meeting someone new that I'm interested in always gives me butterflies. Like you see the guy across the bar and you start,
Oh,
like talking or whatever it is. Um, and I think too, like, those new experiences and that kind of like sense of adventure, I think like walking around the city here, like that, oh, like this is so magical. Like, I'm a mix of this like tourist that's like absolutely taking a picture of everything. And then me, like my future New Yorker self that's like, I'm walking and like, I have places to go. And so I think just kind of like those moments that like really imprint on you and that like, those things they call them core memories, right? Like those really give me butterflies where I think of like, wow, this is something I'm going to experience for a really long time. Like, especially all the travel I did, like being in Dubai on my own and, like, traveling with some friends to like Cambodia and seeing Angkor Wat, or like, when a group of friends in Bangalore, we went to Nandi Hills and just like really taking a moment and like breathing in, breathing out and be like, wow, this is so special. I want to like, take a mental picture of this moment, and gives you butterflies to remember that.
wow. So imagine you are at the bar and this man passed by and you have these butterflies. So tell me, if this person wants to go on a date with you, what this person must have?
They need to be out. I don't have a lot of hard no's, but I think like I worked on myself and I came out of the closet and I found the other side, and I just couldn't date someone that wasn't on that same journey.
Mhm.
And I would wish that they could get there, of course, but like that's not my journey to go on with them. Like I'm not the one that's gonna pull them out.
Right.
Um, I think shooting the shit. Like I'm a joker. I like to. shoot the shit. And I love conversations that you get lost in because it's all of a sudden it's like 3 hours later and you're still talking about something because you were talking about this and you're talking about this and you're talking about this and you're like, just have that back and forth, kind of ping pong style with your conversation. I love that. And someone who's like flirty and affectionate and who knows who they are is has a lot of energy. Never found anyone that can keep up quite with as much things and energy I have, and I think that's going to be a really telltale sign that it's a good match for me, or at least someone that's along for the ride because I'm gonna get the social calendar out and be like, well, we're doing this and this and this and this and this, and I want to see the same thing from them. So I think that, and I think like just their energy, their presence, like how they carry themselves and like who they are as a person, like I think we all have baggage too, and I think it's like how you resolve it. So
Or
no one comes with a perfect slate or like perfect family and friends and self-esteem and all those things, all things to work on. But I think like I would want him to like know who he is and stand in it and has done the work in their 20s the way I have. And um yeah, I'd say that.
amazing. What's your star sign astrology, Paul?
I'm a Scorpio.
I'm Scorpio as
I
well.
know.
Oh, how do
Oh,
you know?
everyone's usually like, oh, a Scorpio. Like, I'm a Scorpio. Yeah.
Which day?
October 28th.
Oh, so it's your birthday very soon. My,
Yeah, yeah, I
my
just had
birthday
it.
was
Yeah.
just this Sunday,
Oh, nice. Happy birthday.
yes, yesterday was my birthday.
Nice, nice.
Amazing. Okay. So
Yeah.
then, yeah, when you said about the energy, about all of that, I said, okay, let me ask him. I'm sure there is something about Scorpio in him. I was right. Right, so then, Jet, let's play now the word association game. Okay, I'm going to give away some words, just tell one word that comes to your mind. We're thinking. Let's start
Okay.
with money.
Sorry. Money?
Money, one word.
Money. Necessary evil.
Family.
My rock.
Fear.
Overplayed.
Okay, I like that. Life.
Gift.
Love.
Addicting.
Religion.
Interesting.
I like the way you said. Interesting. Sex.
Amazing.
I thought you'd say Scorpio. Politics.
Currently depressing.
Okay. Friendship.
Incredible. I feel like I'm just describing them, but yeah.
Okay.
Fulfilling.
Desire.
Waning, I guess, like back
Okay.
and forth. Yeah.
Regret.
Overplayed as well. I think you can't wallow in it. You gotta move on.
Success.
It can be defined differently for different people.
Okay. One word for wish.
I can only say one word. Sorry, I've been saying more.
It's okay. That's okay.
Disney.
Happiness.
Fulfilling.
One word for Seattle.
Eclectic.
One word for New York City.
Magnetic.
One word for USA.
Polarizing.
Okay. The last one, one word for India.
Historic. Rich.
Easy.
Yeah.
Let's pretend now I'm going to meet your two close friends that you mentioned at the beginning of the interview for a coffee, okay? And I'm going to ask both of them. Define Paul in one positive word and one negative word only. What they would say.
I think positive, they would say in one word, big. I mean, in all the emotions. Like I live my life big. I have my emotions big. I love in big
Scorpio,
ways. Yeah.
Scorpio, Scorpio.
Yeah. um,
Negative,
Probably impulsive.
again,
So
Scorpio.
yeah. Yeah.
If I would ask the same question to your parents, would be the same answer.
My parents would say my strength,
Okay?
and who I as a person is a positive. Um, they would probably also say impulsive as my negative, but I see it as spontaneous. So I think it's just how you look at it. But I think that that would be the same on both sides.
Amazing. Great. Let's play now, Paul, in the magic box, and you can ask me a question. Okay, Paul, you can ask me a question now. But actually, before you ask me the question, tell me, what do you, besides your family and friends, what do you think you're gonna miss the most about Seattle when you move to New York City?
Oh gosh. Capitol Hill is just this like magical neighborhood where anything goes, and it's just like this wonderful, beautiful mix of queer people and spaces. And like, I'm just gonna miss like walking down Broadway and then just some like really weird thing happening, and then being like, I don't know, but that's great. Like, love that. And then being able to like call a friend about it and just, and I think like going to one place, running into people I know, that then leads to another place, and you run into more people you know, that then leads to another place, and like the Tuesday night that you thought was going to end at 8, all of a sudden ends at midnight, but you just felt so much community and love, and yeah, I think I'm gonna miss that. Yeah.
I, okay, you can ask me a question now.
Um, where in the where I guess I would say, is there a country that you really want to visit? And what is it?
Right. I mentioned
You
already
don't
about.
already have planned, I guess, because I know you're going to Japan, but something like new on your list. Yeah.
Okay, okay, perfect. All right, great question actually. A place that I've never been. Okay, okay. It's a place that I've been not trying to go. I've been kind of thinking about going there. It's not far from London, which is Budapest, yeah, Hungary.
Mm,
It's a place
yeah.
that so many people already been like close friends, and they always say good things about the place, about Budapest, about the city itself, about the people. And I had some friends here as well in London that are from there and always said good things about it. And for one reason or another, it never happened. You know what I mean? I tend to go I repeat places. For example, if I go to
Mm.
there and I love it, I just tend to come back again and come back again. Back again, and sometimes I need to be more, try different places, which I do sometimes. But for some reason, Budapest. But actually, I was thinking to myself, like I think 2 weeks ago, next year I'll do that because I've been thinking about it. But I think it's somewhere that I've been thinking about for a few years, and for one reason or another, it never happened. But something on my 2025 list that I will
Good.
make.
Yeah.
I will do that for
I think it's a
sure.
great question because it's like, well, even now you were like, well, why haven't I gone? And I'm like, well, why haven't you?
Yeah,
It's a great
it's
opportunity for you to get out of your comfort zone and try something different. Yeah.
Absolutely, and sometimes I'm sure a lot of people there relate to that as well because sometimes you think about a place and you for some reason never happened. You know what I mean? You never kind of
Mm.
put to focus too much to do it, and it's just around the corner for me. So I
Yeah.
will, and yeah, Budapest here come in 2005 for sure.
Nice. Very cool.
Did you enjoy the interview, Paul?
I did, yeah. Just like I was saying, I do things that get me out of my comfort zone, and didn't know you at all, and you reached out, and I was like, sure, why not? So I had a great experience. Yeah.
I'll tell you something. By the way, thanks so much again for taking the time for
Yeah,
the
yeah.
interview. I'm going to repeat again. I'm so happy that we, did this interview right now in your life, that you're exploring a new place before just jumping like for good. And I think it's
Yeah.
great. And actually, I'm going to be honest with you. I saved here the phrase that you have on your Instagram about the
Oh,
adventure,
yeah.
about And I was about to ask you that, but to jump in before I ask you answer my question, I was about to ask you, what do you mean by that? But actually, through the interview, you already said everything about trying and be adventure. Life is an adventure. You just need to try and see
Yeah,
things that just life can bring to you. So thanks again for
exactly.
bringing your energy. Thanks for being so sweet and kind.
Yeah,
And
of course. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'll
before you
look forward to
go,
seeing it when you post it. Yeah.
absolutely. Before you go, if you can share a positive message or anything that you live by.
um, say yes more than saying no, but saying no is okay too. It
Great. I like that. Amazing.
was on the spot. That's what, yeah.
A lot short and sweet and powerful.
Yes. Great. Thank
Thanks
you.
again.
Really nice meeting you.
You too. Good luck in your new journey in New York City, and we keep in touch. Okay.
Thank you.
Take care.
Sounds good. Bye.
Bye bye. Bye. So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, to share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website www.williamandthemagicbox.com and send us a request saying why you'd like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye. See you next time.